Hey, this is Samad Taylor, second baseman from the Toronto Blue Jays, here on the Walk Off Podcast, and you're listening to Scott and Adam.
So excited to be joined by today's guest, second baseman in the Toronto Blue Jays organization, Samad Taylor. Welcome to the Walk Off, man. Thanks so much for taking the time.
No, I appreciate you guys for both having me.
Yeah, man, we're excited to talk some
Really excited.
baseball with you today. And before we even get too much into this, I do want to just say a big congratulations to you on one heck of a 2021 season, buddy. You really turned some heads and put yourself on a lot of people's radar. So well done, man.
Appreciate that, guys. I appreciate that.
You down in Florida right now?
Yeah, I've been down here for about almost a month, about a month and a
Okay.
week. Yeah, about a
I
month and a week. Just down here enjoying spring training. That's about it.
I heard that lineup for the cafeteria is getting longer now, though.
Yeah, the first month I was here, it was about 50 of us showing up every day, eating breakfast on time, eating
Yeah.
lunch on time, being able to eat lunch, and then now it's just like there's 180, 200 guys in here
Yeah. Well,
Wow.
all
let's
trying to
start
eat lunch at once.
let's start with that, my man. Like baseball's back. The CBA finally came together. I'm guessing you're going. I mean, I know the players are already flooding in as we talk right now. You've got to be a little bit excited for that, right? It must be nice to have the big league guys back in the fold with you.
Yeah, 100%. You guys know we had built a new complex, so
Yeah.
our complex now holds the big league side and the minor league side, and I think that's pretty interesting. And I'm quite happy to be around all those guys and seeing how their routines and everything take place on a daily basis. So I'm
Mu-
pumped. I'm ready to get
Must
it.
give you a little bit more experienced dudes to kind of pick their brain a little bit, eh?
100%, 100%. We're dealing with guys that were in the league for from 1 year to 10 years, 15 years down.
Yeah.
So it's a bunch of knowledge, even on the coaching staff side. Like we have a bunch of knowledge on the coaching staff side. I personally think, and on the player side, but I feel like you learn the most from your peers. So it's a bunch of good guys in the organization that we can learn from.
Does it feel a little surreal sometimes? Like, were there any guys, like, I can imagine you were what, like 12 when George Springer was, like, literally competing for MVPs
Yeah,
and stuff like that?
yeah. I'm 23 now. I'm still young.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think who I honestly I was probably going to George Springer spring training. It's like when he was in like coming up, I was
Yeah.
probably still going to spring training games and stuff like that. So I've been around the spring training complexes from Arizona to Florida my whole life. Since I was 10, 11 years old, I've been going to spring training every year. So I got a good feel of how it's supposed to be. And the past couple years, it wasn't how it was supposed to be going due to
Yeah.
COVID and stuff. But now it feels like we're all back to not 100% back to normal, but it's good to have the whole organization at one spot at one time.
Oh, I can attest to that. I know both Adam and I are stand-up comedians, and like this is the first time in a long time where it actually feels again not normal, but like the most normal it has in two
Yeah.
years. So it is nice. So let's rewind here 2 years, a little bit less than that, and go back to that COVID season. Obviously, the minor league season was canceled. Development became incredibly difficult for minor league guys. A lot of guys didn't even get any games in, but you actually went overseas to Australia and played some baseball there. I'm really curious how that went for you, and I also want to know the story as to how that even came about.
Um, I'll start off on how it came about. I was in instructs coming off of a tough offensive year in 2019. Um, Going in instructs, working on things with my swing, and the question was brought up to me from one of the coaches in the organization if I would want to go play winter ball. And at the time, at first, I was like, kind of leery about it because we're talking about a whole different, we're on the other side of the globe.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was kind of leery about going just on the fact of where it was at and how far it was and stuff like that. And I knew that I had other things in my game that I needed to work on. And I felt at the time that the best thing to do was to be in a game atmosphere to work on those things and see the results of the success and the failure. So when they told me that, I sat back, talked to my parents about it, sat on it for about a week, made my decision to go out there. And then I get out there, and the experience out there was phenomenal. One of my favorite times traveling and being away from America. Like, it was amazing. The baseball talent was, I would say, high A level. And then previous, I just came from high A, so it wasn't so far of a jump. Australia has their guys that are in pro ball, and they have their guys that
Right.
are veterans and that were in pro ball. So like they still all come together and play as one league in that winter ball setting during the time of winter ball. And I went down there with a plan to work on certain things, and I got down there and I was kind of up and down a little still. Being away from your family and being in a whole different country, you're going up and down. It's tough that you have to go through it, but it's something in your game that you have to go through to figure out what's going to work and what's not going to work. And I got out there and it was, go ahead.
Did it make it weirder that you were there during the pandemic?
I'm going to be honest with you. Australia at the time was normal.
Right. Because they didn't shut down right away, right?
Yeah, like they had very, very, very minimal cases. I would say when I was there, the highest amount of cases, active cases, was, I want to say like 20. Like they weren't even in the 100.
Wow, yeah.
So like they had a super low amount of cases. And then right before I had left, they had like what they would call their spike. And their spike was like
40.
another 15, 20 cases. So
Doubled.
like, yeah, it wasn't crazy on spike, but how they went about their business on when people get quarantined and stuff like that, I can see how they can control it. But it wasn't like I went out there and I was living a normal life, no face masks, grocery stores, like the whole nine. Everything was normal. And
what was the I guess time frame between your first like summer league ending and the time you had to start winter ball down in Australia?
I want to say, so if I can remember back correctly, what?
Like, are we talking a few weeks or a few months? What was the off time?
It was like from when I got to Instructs to when I left to Australia, I want to say a month. And the only reason it was, and it may be a month and a half. And the only reason it was even a month and a half is because the government in Australia and the government, like, things weren't meeting out here to where they can get us out there due to how bad COVID was in America at the time. So like they were going back and forth with that. So that was the only thing that really prolonged it.
Did that weigh into your, I guess, hesitation or your consideration for going down there? Like, did you get to the end of your ball season kind of exhausted? And like, I imagine at the end of your year, you're like, okay, now I got some time off to recover and, you know, relax and kind of reevaluate things. And now all of a sudden it's like right back into the grind. Do I really want to do this?
Yes and no. I would say yes, just on the fact of I know my body now.
Yeah.
So like I know like when I'm getting tired and when I'm getting beat up, like I know how I start to feel.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, no, just on the fact of I was so used to playing year round. Like coming up as a youngin, like I played year round all the time, and I never really like took a break to myself and just sat back and relaxed. But like the beginning of that off season was like I think I was down for like 2 weeks before like I even left to go to Florida to get ready to go to Australia. So like I really like I didn't have the crazy amount of downtime, but then again I didn't have absolutely no downtime.
I
Right.
guess
Like
I
Yeah.
guess
it was good.
that's the difference between growing up in Canada and growing up in the States is we have to take time off from our
Oh
baseball
yeah,
seasons. Like the winter, there's no winter ball here in
Yeah.
Canada.
Mother
So
a
Nature
hundred
doesn't allow
percent,
us.
100%. You guys get crazy snow down there, and I feel bad for you guys just on how cold it gets down there.
Well, we appreciate the pity, Samad.
But yeah, it's
hopefully you're up north soon enough, though.
man, I'm trying to get up there.
Yeah. So last season, you got the nod to start in Double A after coming back from Australia. You went to New Hampshire, and you flashed far more power than you had showed in previous years. I'm really curious. Was this like a swing adjustment thing? Was this like a muscle mass thing? Because, buddy, you were hitting bombs.
Um, I had to start the season, or we can even take it back to spring training.
Sure.
Like coming from Australia, there were things that I still needed to work on that I wasn't satisfied with in the box. Um, in the spring training, I was happy, but I wasn't where I wanted to be. And then like I want to say like the first 2 weeks of season, like I was just in a pot, like in a serious pot, and I couldn't accept that it was starting off the way it was starting off. So like I sat back and I thought I needed to make an adjustment. I didn't know exactly what the adjustment was that I needed to make until I actually started to dissect what it was and how I was going about everything. So I had to make a whole stance change, drastic change on the offensive side. And
So you did make major changes.
yeah, I made a drastic change. I went from like being super spread out to not striding to narrowing up to having a leg kick, and like it was a bunch of stuff that was going on. And
Was it tough to stick with that adjustment? Like, I can imagine when it's such a major adjustment, your body even wants to go back to what it did, right?
yeah, 100%. That's the hardest thing in the game of baseball on the offensive side of the game is me in the past, I would do something and then I would be like, okay, well, that didn't work. I need to try something else. I need to make a whole new change. It's like I was in the past, I was always fighting with 50 different type of swings and 50 different type of stances throughout a season when in reality, I didn't need to do that. I just needed to hone in on one particular thing and fix that one particular thing, and then the rest was going to take care of itself. And that's what happened this past season. Like I shortened up to leg kick and then started focusing on like hitting from my backside and staying in my legs and staying on my backside and letting my barrel work. And by the grace of God, it panned out to be a great year.
so
It must be so exciting when you start to actually see that progress, eh? Like, because like you just said, it's a struggle. And then once you start to get validated with it, it must just be like a yes moment.
Oh, 100%. Like I said before, I had two, I would say, terrible offensive seasons back to back, 2018 and 2019. And then COVID, I had an average year in Australia, and like I said, not where I wanted to be. And I knew that I needed to be my best self. Like my best self was what I displayed this past off season or this past season. And like there's more to come. Like I feel like there's more in the tank for me. There's a lot more there. There's things that I need to still work on, obviously, because there's always room for improvement. So there's still
Well,
things
you
I need
can't
to
ever
work
stop
on.
working, yeah.
100%.
So
But
where,
it was not to cut you off real quick. It was probably one of the best feelings with me, just to stick with one particular swing or one particular stance and go about my business the way I did and not panic and just try to go to other things. So like I was super happy with the success that happened. And like I said before, the game's up and down. So as quick as you can be successful is as quick as you can go back down. Like it's just
Baseball.
you gotta be level headed with it.
Yeah.
so I just wanted to jump in there then with this most recent tweak that you've made to your stance and to your swing. Does that come internally? Like, is that something that you just think, let me try this and see how it goes, or is that something that like within the organization, like a hitting coach says, hey, I think you should try this, or here's something I've noticed?
I got to a point where nothing can get worse. Like it wasn't that bad, but like I've been through so many different swing changes
Right.
during a
It was
season to
your
where it
rock
was like
bottom, yeah.
exactly like my rock bottom, nothing can get worse. And I went to one of my hitting coaches and I was like, I'm gonna go back to how I was standing when I was in high school and my first year of pro ball. And I went over video. I looked at video, looked at how I looked in high school and pro ball, and then took things out of that and just put it together and was working on it for days in and days out, and it transferred to the game. That was the biggest thing, was what I'm practicing on, transferring it over to the game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it worked. I know that you were getting a lot of attention last year, Samad. The spotlight definitely kind of shone your way, if you will. And I think part of it is because, prospect rankings don't really mean anything, but if you're not highly ranked in the prospect rankings and then you see the sort of jump in skill set that you see in you, it turns heads. Did you enjoy that attention? And was it tough to kind of stay focused on continuing to develop once you started to make such huge strides? And how did you go about doing that?
So I try my best to not pay attention to media.
Yeah.
Um, just on the fact of the media could praise you or the media can bash you. The media could bring you up or it can put you down. So it's like I don't like looking at it, but how my season went last year, when it's constantly being put out there,
Yeah.
you see it. Like you obviously see the attention, you feel the attention. I feel like I handled it in the right way. I didn't really get big headed about anything because, like I said, I know how up and down the game is, and I know as good as it was going is as bad as it could have turned in the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
So it's like you just got to stay level headed with your success, and that was the biggest thing. Once you get to the point where you're starting to see the results and see the success, you just got to stay there and ride it out.
So your natural position is second base, and you did get some reps at third, and you played some outfield. You're becoming more positionally versatile for sure. How is your confidence level when you're at a position that isn't second base? Are you feeling more comfortable at other positions?
Yeah, coming up in high school, I played all over for the most part, short, second, and center. Um, Caught a lot coming up as a youngin. So, like to be in a different position, it really doesn't phase me. Um, when the action picks up and the game speeds up, you start to see guys that are out of position. Like they stand out like sore thumbs. I personally think, but it really wasn't something that I was just like worried about being out of position, because it would, at the end of the day, I know how to fill a ground ball. Like I think I know how to fill a ground ball. It's like if I'm in a different position, ground ball is a ground ball, fly ball is a fly ball.
Yeah.
If you know how to catch a fly ball, you know how to catch a fly ball. If you know how to catch a ground ball, you know how to catch a ground ball. So
I
it's
love
just
that
like it's one
mentality.
of
You're
those
like,
things.
stay out of your own head. It's perfect.
You guys know how it is. You guys are stand-up comedians.
Yeah.
You're your own biggest critic. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
as soon as you start beating yourself up, it hurts even more because it's coming from yourself.
Yeah. And it's a slippery slope for sure. It's a rare mix of skill sets when it's a speed and power mix like you displayed last year. I'm very curious what your approach is on the base path. And when you were in New Hampshire, did you always have the green light?
Yeah. Coming up the past couple years, I've had the green light. This year
Is
was
that validating
different.
that the coach is like, we
Yeah.
trust you? Yeah, it is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It shows respect.
Yeah.
Like you feel it. But like coming up, I was always just relying on my speed. This year I had to come in and actually learn how to like steal bags and look at certain things and pick certain pitches to run on. So like my game awareness was through the roof, I think, when it came to stealing bags this year. And that's why I feel like I was successful at doing it, let alone the speed. The speed's gonna be there. Like I'm a fast guy, it's gonna be there. But I I truly stand on this. You can be as fast as you want. If you can't steal bags, what is your speed doing?
Yeah.
So like I feel like you just have to learn over time. You're gonna learn how to steal bags, and I feel like that was the biggest thing this year was to learn how to actually do it. If that
That is
makes sense.
so interesting though that like you can be the fastest guy on the team, but if you don't have that skill of stealing bases, like it's about as irrelevant as it can be.
100%. Because you can't get on base and just be like, okay, well, I'm on base, I'm fast, dude, on the field,
Hopefully
I'm gonna
someone
go.
hits a double.
Like we're getting to the point where guys are getting better and better and better every day, and the higher you move, the better guys are on the mound at holding runners. The better guys' arms are behind the plate. The quicker they are behind the plate. Like so, there's things you're gonna have to pick up on. Oh, if he's throwing a curveball in this situation, or if he's missing arm side in this situation. It's like it's a lot of stuff that goes into it. But like I feel like I picked a lot of the stuff out and help from our coaching staff on not even our coaching staff, the organization on beating it into us to look at other things in the game besides just hitting the ball 100 or hitting the ball 500 feet and throwing the ball 100 miles an hour. It's like the Blue Jays harp on a bunch of small things in the game.
How I'm interested now about the base stealing and all the mental side that goes into it. Like how would you weigh the two out when it comes to pure raw speed and the know-how of how to be a base stealer? Because I mean, if we look at the big league level, we got a guy like Kevin Biggio, who probably one of the best stealers or one of the best base stealers on the Blue Jays, not known for his speed, right? But I
100%.
think he went 20 for 20 to start his career. And then we got a guy like Teoscar Hernandez, who very quick, and
So
you
fast.
feel like when he's on first base, any base hit, he's a potential to go first to third, right? Not a
But
base
also not
stealer.
known for his stealing. Yeah.
So
Oh, it can honestly just be off of who the guy is. I think like if I get on base, I want to let me backtrack. I came up to a travel team to where the fast guys on the team, if you got on base, you had two pitches to get to third, three pitches to get to third. So it was
it was expected.
pick your poison.
Yeah.
Pick like get on base, pick your poison. And like with Biggio, and I feel that Biggio, like you guys said, is a great base runner and a great base stealer. I feel like there's things that he looks at to get to the next bag, if that makes sense. Not saying that Teoscar doesn't look for those things,
Oh, of
but
course.
he may not just be comfortable stealing bases. Because I know a lot of guys that are faster than me that aren't good at base stealing, and I know guys that are slower than me that in a blink of an eye they'll steal a base because they're just that elite at doing it.
Do you think that confidence in yourself plays a role? Because I mean, nothing looks worse than getting caught stealing,
Oh, 100%.
especially getting caught stealing often. And I do feel like that is, I mean, base running in general, whether you're stealing a base or whether you're rounding third and deciding to go, right? Like the worst thing you can do is hesitate. Hesitation will kill
100%.
you. So
100%. You have with anything in life, you have to go in confident.
that's great.
If you want to see any results, if you want to feel good about the situation that's in front of you, you have to go into a confident. So if you're second guessing yourself, just hold up and stay there. Like that. I'll tell you, I'll be the first to tell you. There's times that I come into games and I know like, okay, I get on base, I'm gonna have 2-3 bags today, or I'm gonna have a bag today. And then there's times where I'll be like, okay, I get on base, I'm more than likely not stealing because I'm just not like I'm not feeling it. Or
Yeah.
if I do steal that day when I'm not feeling it, it's on something that I picked up off a pitcher or I picked up a sign or something like that. So it's the little things that I personally think make the good base runners be great base runners.
There was something you said that really stood out to me, and it was when you were talking about how the Blue Jays organization has pushed you to improve your base stealing skill and to go for it when you have that opportunity. Now, I know that we're in a time in baseball where there are a lot of organizations out there who actually are the other way around, where they're like, we don't really want you running. Um, is it I mean, with the skill set of speed, obviously that is something you want to add to your game. Is that something that is up and down throughout the Blue Jays organization where they really kind of push you to use the skills that you have?
100%. I'll ask you this: if you got a guy that is my size that can run, why hone in on teaching them the power side?
Yeah.
Like at that point, you're taking away their best attribute. Like if like that's that's how I think. I think that the Blue Jays see that they're not gonna come to a guy that isn't capable of doing one thing and just be like, okay, I'm gonna take your best tool and give you this tool because this tool is what is getting taught in the organization right now.
Yeah.
So it's like there's certain guys that are in the organization that will have 30 plus bags every year because these are the guys that they hone in on stealing bases. And don't get me wrong, they still hone in on
Of
the other
course.
guys stealing bases, but it's not pushed as much as it is on the other side with guys that are elite base runners or elite runners at that.
So we here on the walk-off have been incredibly lucky to chat with 30 or more of your counterparts within the Blue Jays organization. Everyone's been very generous with their time, and it's very cool. And one thing that kind of has stood out to me, I guess, as something that is just right across the organization is that it's such a grind in the minor leagues, and you just develop these relationships because you're in the trenches together. Did you find that when you got that call up to the Fisher Cats that there were some guys that you really bonded with last year? And were there some guys that you found even in almost in a mentorship role who like really helped your development?
Yeah, 100%. I came up with like when I came to the Blue Jays organization in 2017 through the trade, I became cool with Chavez Young, Reggie Pruitt. Like I became cool with quite a few guys in the organization that I've played with from 2017 till now. So like I never really had like a shock of a bunch of new faces in the locker room. So like every
Right.
locker room I've been in, it's been 15 of the same guys that I've seen the year before.
Yeah.
So like I didn't have that initial like, oh wow, like who we got this year. Like on the mentoring side, I would say Casey Lawrence, and he's a pitcher. So
Yeah.
that should tell you something. Like he's a guy that likes to help others, and I feel that the way he goes about his business is the way a lot of guys should go about their business. Just on the fact of last season, as you guys know, he pitched in Double A.
Yeah.
He was from Double A to Triple A. Like he was back and forth. And
Yeah.
this is a guy that's already debuted. He's been in the league. Like he's gotten to where I want to get to. Why would I not sit back and open my ears and listen to what he has to say? And I feel like that helped me tremendously with the mental side of it. And then my hitting coach, Matt Haig, in New Hampshire, he was played with the Jays in the show, and he kind of helped me on the mental side because like previous years, like I'm my toughest soldier. Like I fight through everything. Like I just give it my all, and when I struggle previously, like it would get to me just on the fact of I know how good I am, and I know that I'm not showing how good I really am. So like that was the biggest thing this past season on like people mentoring me, and I feel that the two guys that I just named helped me tremendously. Even though Casey Lawrence was only with us for a couple weeks or so, the conversations and me being able to see how he went about his business, being at a lower level after you just came from where you just came from, that kind of it stuck with me.
I love hearing that. The willingness to learn is a big thing, right? Like there's a lot of guys who maybe that's their biggest stumbling block is that they're not open to what everything you just said.
You have in this game, if you're not 100% successful, you have to.
Yeah, right?
And like I said, we're playing a game of failure. You fail more than you succeed. So
Huh.
at some point, you're gonna have to be like, okay, well, what I'm doing isn't working. So let me sit back and open my ears and see what other people have to say.
So
And
I know
that's how.
you just brought this up, and I do want to hear about this. I want to know about your experience being traded from Cleveland to Toronto because it must have been such a like range of emotions to go from the organization that drafted you, that you started with, the guys that you like, you become brothers with the kids coming up, and then all of a sudden you get moved to another organization. But on the other hand, you move to an organization that literally picked you, was like, we want Samad Taylor. How did
100%.
that feel?
Um, I'm gonna be honest. I really didn't know anything about the trade, like how the trade stuff went when it all happened. Um, I was. This sounds crazy, but I was so used to like the video game, how people used to get traded in the video game, where they could just decline the trade whenever it happened.
Yeah.
And
You're
at the
like, where's the
time,
decline button?
yeah, like at the time, I was getting ready for a game, and they called me in their office, and they're like, "Hey, like we're trading you to the Blue Jays, blah blah, this and this and this," and then in a matter of 18 hours, I was on a flight to West Virginia because I was waiting for my passport. So like it happened super duper fast, and like I couldn't even like sit back and
Process it,
soak
hey?
it in. Like it happened, and I was like, okay, well, I gotta call my parents and let my parents know that I just got traded to the Blue Jays. I gotta call my agent, let my agent know I just got traded. Like I gotta pretty much make a whole new friend group. Like
Yeah.
that, like it just felt surreal. And then I got over here, and then it was like, okay, well, this is what's in front of you. You got to change. Like
Yeah.
you gotta get out of the feelings like that. You have to. And it really didn't hit me that I was traded to like 2 weeks after the trade happened, and I was
That
like,
must have
oh, I'm
been
I'm in a whole nother organization.
that must have been, whether you wanted it to or not, been a real moment of growth mentally for you, eh?
Yeah, 100%. I signed at 17, played rookie ball, Mahoney Valley at 18, 18, 19. So I was fresh out of high school, not even 2 years out of high school, and I'm going through all this. Like
Yeah.
it's like what the heck? Like to even just
Really
get
being
drafted,
thrown
it's
into the
like
deep
wow.
end, eh?
Yeah, like that's exactly how I thought too. It was like, dang, they quit on me already. It just tossed me off the boat. Like on to the next one. That's what I was thinking. But like you said, at the end of the day, if you're getting traded, it's because the team you're getting traded to wants you. They see something in you that can help them in the big leagues. They're not going to trade for you. At the end of the day, the ultimate goal is for everybody to get to the big league.
Yeah.
They're not going to trade for you to help them in the minor league.
No.
So it's
That's
like
true.
once you open your eyes and once I opened my eyes and actually sat back and thought about it, it was like, okay, well, this is the organization that wants me. Not saying that the Indians didn't want me, but this is the organization that really wants me right now. What am I going to do to put myself in a situation to better myself and better the organization and help the organization to win? And I just had to find ways.
Out of curiosity, do you know where you'll be playing this year yet? Are you headed to Buffalo? Have they things are still up in the air, I'm guessing?
I have no clue as of now. Um, I'll tell you just like I tell everybody else. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter where I go. I want to be on the field. I want to play. I want to be successful. My ultimate goal is to play in Toronto in the Rogers Center, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to get there. Wherever I start, I start. It don't matter where you start, it matters where you finish.
I
So
love
I
that
just
because we had Zach Logue on the podcast here recently, and he mentioned when we talked about, we congratulated him on getting the call up to AAA and how does it feel to be in Buffalo, and he kind of said something very similar where he was like, well, I mean, it's great and I love it, but the goal isn't for me to play AAA. Like, so
100%,
yeah,
100%. Like if you're in season, like if you're in low A, ultimately your goal that year is to get to high or
yeah,
to get moved up. Like your goal is always to get moved up. Was I happy that I started in New Hampshire? Yeah. Was I mad that I didn't get called up? No.
yeah.
Did I really care that I didn't get called up? At the end of the day, not really. Just on the fact of today's a new day, and when season starts, it's a whole new season. All I gotta do is just keep working, keep working, keep working, and then eyes will be open to where the opportunity presents itself. When the opportunity presents itself, I just gotta be successful when it's in front of me.
So if it's all about improving your skill set, I'm curious what your biggest goals for this upcoming season is. What are some things that you're looking to continue to develop within yourself, Samad Taylor?
I would say controlling the zone better and like controlling my barrel because like I tend to lose my barrel sometimes throughout the season and losing it through the zone. Like I'll be times where I'll be in and out of the zone quick, or there'll be times like I'll be like waving in and
Right.
out of the zone, and I feel like that is where the swing and miss percentages come up. So I would say just honing in on feeling the same things that I felt in the previous year with the offensive side, and then just controlling the zone really and controlling my barrel. Those are the two biggest things that I think I need to work on that will get me to the next level.
Samad, you have been so generous with your time. Thank you so much for joining us. We do have some listener questions. Do you have a few more minutes here?
Yeah, come on, let's go.
Awesome, right on. Adam, all you, bud.
All right. First one is short and sweet. This one comes from Caroline, who just wants to know, with your speed, can you bunt?
100%, one hundred
Yeah.
percent. The thing about that, and I'm gonna tell you,
All right.
you just can't bunt it back to the pitcher. At
No
the
matter
end of
how
the
fast
day,
you are.
do not bunt it back to the pitcher. So like I've been working on it a lot. In high school, I used to bunt a lot. I got the pro ball, and I'm not gonna say I thought it was overrated, but I got into the point where it was like, if I'm gonna giving it bat up, because in pro ball I didn't really work on bunting a lot. So
Mhm.
I felt like if I'm gonna give it a bat up, I'd rather do it on something I'm working on,
Mhm.
Right.
swinging. Like I don't want to go up there and bunt, and then I just bunted it back to pitcher. I gave myself no chance.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Or I go up there and bunt, and I pull back, and it's a strike, and I'm down 0-1, or some along those lines. So it's like I never really gave myself the opportunity to bunt in pro ball like that. But this past year, I don't hold me to this. I may be wrong, but I think I was 3 for 3 with bunt bases this past season.
Okay, yeah.
All
Think,
right.
You're like, don't
but
check the
like I
stats, but
don't
that's what it feels like. Yeah.
like I don't. This past season was weird because I was doing so well with the bat to where like I
Hmm.
just didn't like if I needed a bunt, I'll lay a bunt down. If I needed a sack, I'll sack. If the
Yeah.
bunt sign's given to me, I'll give my bat up. Like I'm when it comes to something to help the team win in any way, shape, or form, I'll do whatever I have to do. Because at the end of the day, ultimately, I love winning. I hate losing, and I'm gonna do whatever it takes in my power to put my team in the best situation to win, to come out on top. So if it's bunting, if I have to go to Rogers Center and bunt, I do not care. If that's gonna help us win a World Series, I'm gonna do
Yeah.
it.
Love to hear
That's
it.
great. All right. Next one comes from Todd, who wants to know, what are your short-term goals that you've set for yourself in 2022?
Um, All-Star team, really. That's
Yeah.
I don't
Hey.
really I don't really like to set I've gotten away from setting number goals and stuff like that
Yeah.
because you get to a point where you can get complacent. Um, you can say, "Oh, I want to hit 300 by the halfway mark of the season." You get to 300, and it's like, "Okay, well, I'm at 300. Okay, well, once I get to 300, what am I going to do then?"
Right.
So I try to stay away from those the number side of it, but
Right.
I just want to go out there, be successful, and win an award. That's my big thing. I want to put myself in a situation to win an award. If it's making it to the All-Star game, whatever it is, if it's winning Gold Glove wherever, I
Yeah.
want to put myself in the best position to win an award.
That's great. All right, next one comes from, we got two more here. This one comes from Lynn, and she wants to know, other than baseball, what are three of the biggest priorities in your life?
God, my family, and just being loyal to others.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. It's too it's
I love those answers. Those are good. I
it's
know.
too much.
You
It's
were
a
on the
tough
spot
list,
there.
Stuff in the
Yeah.
world. Like there's too much stuff in the world going on, and to be sitting back trying to hate on others. Like
Yeah.
Love it.
I love everything.
Agreed.
I
Yeah.
love people. Like I love all people.
All right, so last one comes from Connor, kind of a fun one here. He wants to know around the training facility there in Dunedin. I guess we've seen some pictures on Twitter of Santiago Espinal has put on some mass this off season. He wants to know, have you seen him yet, and is he as big as he looks? What's the deal with Espinal?
Yeah, I seen Santi today. They're out there. They had a live VP. I've seen him today, and yes, he has put on muscle mass, however you guys want to call it.
Yeah.
He has put on, and does it look good? 100%. Does he look bigger than what he did last year? I personally think 100%. I feel like he just filled into his body.
Nice.
And is it real? Yes.
Love it. Awesome.
That is 100%. The pictures are not blowing it up. Like, no, it's really
It's legit.
what you
Espinal
see
came
on
to
the
play
picture.
this year. I love it. That's
Yeah.
great. We're all looking forward to
And
it.
that's another guy in the organization that got traded, and I feel like he went through the same thing I probably went through.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Samad, all the best with the 2022 season, man. We're rooting for you, and thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us, buddy. I really enjoyed it.
No, I appreciate you guys again for having me. God bless you guys, and God bless you guys' career. Keep going, guys. I appreciate you.
Thank you
Hey,
so
right
much.
back
You
at
too.
you, my man. Thank you so much.
No problem. Have a good one, guys.